Hey everyone, George Stern here, CEO of Appeal Wizards, host of the Appeal Wizards podcast, and I am on with our COO and Amazon Appeal expert, Derek Neal. Derek, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, George. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Pumped to be here. Excited to get this podcast rolling.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about related accounts, which seems to be an increasingly common and complicated issue for our clients coming up again and again. We want to help people solve this issue. So, Derek, why are we here talking about related account issues today? Why is this an important thing for our clients?
This type of suspension is so interesting and terrible because often it feels like an injustice. So, you're a seller and you may not have done anything wrong, and then all of a sudden you're suspended and it doesn't make any sense. So not all related account suspensions are an injustice. Sometimes it is like a viable, preventable mistake, but this is something that I see very often. And it can be challenging to come back from because of a lack of information, a lack of clarity. So just wanted to frame it that way. In my opinion, this is actually the biggest flaw in Amazon's seller policies. So they have built a web to catch black hat sellers, and that web is just way, way, way too sticky, and it catches way too many good sellers. So just thinking about, that's why this is such an important topic. That's why Amazon, why we're talking about it here today.
Talk to us first about why Amazon even cares about this. Why do they suspend sellers for having related accounts in the first place?
So in short, related account suspensions occur when your account is found to be related to another account, which itself is suspended for violating Amazon's policies. So clearing up a common misconception, if you receive this type of suspension, is not because Amazon has simply found your account to be related to another. It is because that account that is related to yours is itself suspended. So having more than one account is actually okay as long as both accounts are healthy. It's okay if in Amazon's book, but if one account goes down, they all go down like dominoes. So that's how we think about related accounts. And the last thing I'll say on this kind of basic question is, what does it mean for an account to be related to another? So basically, Amazon has found the same piece of information or a similar piece of information on your account and that other account. So this can be something like an email, a phone number, address, credit card. Those are common. There are also less obvious things like IP address, using the same phone or laptop to access the account, sharing office space. So the full list of linkages is not published, but we hypothesize that Amazon can actually get into the extreme minutia here, the extreme details to link accounts, things like font size on your laptop, the version of iOS you're running, the plugins that you're running. Anyways, you may feel like that's strict, and that's right.
So you're describing Amazon kicking off a ton of innocent sellers or suspending a ton of innocent sellers, doing it on things as crazy as font size. Why are they doing this? Is Amazon just evil, or is there a reason behind why they care so much about related accounts?
But you take an extreme example of a black hat seller selling counterfeit knockoff purses, right? High-end purses, they're fake. They're calling them Gucci. I don't know if Gucci's on Amazon, a high-end brand. And they get caught by Amazon and shut down, and there's no path forward to reinstate the account because they were, committing a felony, engaged in illegal activity. To get around it, in this extreme case, this black hat seller just creates a new account. And then gets caught again, does the same thing, creates another account, gets caught again, and just keeps creating new accounts to get around Amazon's policies and continue with black hat sales activity. Again, extreme example, but this is the type of thing that Amazon is trying to present with the related accounts policy.
Makes sense, and makes sense why they'd want to do that. Too bad it's catching a lot of innocent sellers in the process, but that's why we're here to try and help folks avoid those suspensions and get back up and running if they are taken down. So will you talk to us about what types of related account suspensions we see?
So In general, we see three types of related account suspension. So I like this. We've developed this internally at Appeal Wizards. We've coined them the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I love that. So we classify these related account suspensions based on the status of what I will call the triggering account. So this is an important clarification. So to make it easy to talk about related accounts, I'll lay out some terminology. So we call the account that you were concerned about as the seller, the account that is deactivated, the account that you're losing sleep over, we call that the target account. And then the account that is causing the suspension because it has been found to be related to the target account, we call that the triggering account. So this is just a quick thing, to say before we dive into the three types, because the three types of related account suspensions are classified by, in our mind, the status of the triggering account. So the first type, the good, this is where you recognize the related account. So you recognize the triggering account. So you have access to the triggering account and knowledge of. So to be clear, you have two things: one, knowledge of, and two, access to the related account. These are relatively easy to solve. That's why we call them good suspensions. The second type is a bad suspension. So here we're saying that bad is less bad than ugly. So this is the middling type of related account suspension. So in this case, the seller has knowledge of one, but no access to the related account. So this is like when you learn the name of the triggering account and you go, oh, shoot, that's Billy's store. Maybe Billy is an old business partner or an old friend or a friend's friend's friend, but you recognize that account name. So this is the type of suspension you have knowledge of, but you don't have access to the store. Or maybe it's you used to have access to the store and you no longer do have access to the store. Maybe you sold it. So these are a bit harder to solve. And then the last type of suspension that we see related accounts, this is the ugly. So in these cases, you have neither. You have no knowledge of or access to the triggering account. So when you call account health to get the name of the account, and that's a worthy quick aside for those of you who don't know, you can actually call the account health team and get the name of the triggering account. Anyway, so for these ugly suspensions, when you learn the name of the triggering account, you scratch your head and you're like, what? I've never heard of evil black hat seller store one. How can I prove that I have no relationship with a store that I've never heard of? So these are ugly. These are often an injustice, and these are what we specialize in at Appeal Wizards.
Sounds really ugly. Give us an example of that. What's a case we've seen of the ugly variety?
Story I like to tell, it was end of 2021, November of 2021, a seller reached out to us. He sold surfing products in Hawaii, had a little local store there, wanted to get into the direct-to-consumer e-commerce model. He had a related account suspension from 2017. So his account had been deactivated for over 4 years when he came to us. He didn't recognize the related account whatsoever. He had never heard of it. He asked around his team. He had quite a team. He had a thriving business. No one had ever heard of the related account. So he hired us, and I put on my private detective hat. So I scoured the internet. I was able to find the incorporation docs for the triggering account. There was a name on those docs. I dug in virtually to find everything that I could on that person. This is, it's really private detective stuff. I was actually able to find an email address for his wife, who had a real estate business. I reached out, finally got in touch with the owner of the triggering account. He agreed to help. We got on a call. We talked about his account, when it got suspended, had to kind of explain the whole story. We were just trying to find the link between these two sellers that had no idea who each other were, trying to find the link between the two accounts. We talked for a long time over Zoom. We finally found the link. So they used the same consultant for an overlapping period of a month back in 2017. was a very small one-man consulting shop. So yeah, two Amazon sellers, one in Hawaii, one in Florida. They had never heard of each other. Used the same consultant for a month many years ago. When I found that, I knew that had to be the link. So then sure enough, I dug into both accounts. I found that consultant's phone number on both accounts, both way back in old contact information on the account. And then from there, it was relatively simple. So we had already done the work. So we explained that this consultant's mistake to Amazon, and on the first submission, we were able to reactivate that target account. So I was proud of that work.
Yeah, nice job. This is why I'm always worried I'm going to lose our team to the CIA, because you all are such good investigators on behalf of our clients. So give our listeners a tip. How can everyone wants to, be able to use third-party vendors, consultants. It's an important part of running a big Amazon business. How do you make sure that a vendor or consultant doesn't link you to someone all the way across the country who you've never heard of?
That's a really good question. And there's actually a very distinct answer to that. So never give anyone access to your login credentials. That's huge. Always add any third-party consultants or third-party users as authorized users on the account. So that's a big thing that we commonly see that links accounts. And then beyond that, just taking the time to read the boring policies about related accounts, just so you can stay informed. Understand the policy. It can be confusing. If you understand the policy and you work with a reputable consultant, that consultant will know not to put any of their information on your account. So a lot of this can be prevented with knowledge. Beyond that, very simple advice: only have one account. Don't keep inactive accounts hanging around. If you no longer use an account, close it out fully. It can be a little bit of a tedious process to close an account, more tedious than it should be, but go through it and close it. And then, if you do have more than one account, or you do have an obvious relationship with an account, it shouldn't be a problem. Just keep them all healthy, and you can continue selling.
And of course, if they're unhealthy, or if you have no idea how to private detective your way into finding a link across the country, let us know. We're always happy to help with those issues. Derek, thanks for sharing all this related account knowledge. I'm sure super helpful for our listeners. And again, to anyone out there who is struggling to make sense of this, we know it is hard to crack Amazon's ever-changing rules. We're here to help. Let us know how we can assist you. Our mission is to get Amazon sellers back up and selling as quickly as possible and to keep them there. Derek, thanks so much for joining and sharing this knowledge.
Thanks, George. See you again soon.